If there's one aspect of the gaming industry that exists today that I think is perhaps the most important, it's the idea of criticism. The fact that we now exist in an era where we as fans can directly speak to game developers, game publishers, or even just investors who are actually funding the projects that we'll be playing. And I think that us voicing these opinions is extremely important because without our feedback, they don't actually know when they're doing things good or doing things very, very bad. What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today I actually want to do some heavy criticism of Sony themselves. Occasionally, down in the comment section, you guys actually criticize me and say that I'm a little bit too soft on the PlayStation 4, and today I want to rectify that. You see, I think that PlayStation Plus has become an increasingly awful service, and what kind of worries me is the fact that there are currently some rumors going around that there might be an extreme version of PlayStation Plus that exists with the Ps5. There's some sorts of rumors going around about the idea that Sony might possibly start charging us an even higher optional fee if you want to get exclusive access to stuff like cool betas and demos. And I'm actually worried about something like that because PlayStation Plus, as time's gone on, has become an increasingly worse service. You see, I've actually had PlayStation Plus for I guess about 7 or 8 years now, from the late PlayStation 3 era, and it's kind of interesting to look back on it now because early on, it was actually an optional thing. A lot of people sort of forget that, but originally when PlayStation Plus came around, it was something that you could actually opt into, but was not mandatory. Initially, when you actually got it, everything was free. If you wanted to actually play online multiplayer or join parties or stream stuff, all of that was totally free on the PlayStation 3, but additionally, you could opt into PlayStation Plus and pay like $5 a month and you would get free games. That was initially the main drive to it, is, hey, are you trying to build up your PlayStation library, but you don't want to spend a bunch of cash? Well, we'll just give you a couple games totally free of charge in order to get you to play more and play longer. It was an idea that I thought was really, really smart, and it was actually copied a lot by Microsoft in their Games with Gold service. But now, several years into it, it's kind of funny to see that Microsoft's Games with Gold service is now way better. I'm not even joking. So now what's going on is basically there are about 2 games every single month that come out for PlayStation Plus on PS4. You get 2 PS4 games every single month if you're subscribed to PlayStation Plus. Now typically these are indie games or super old stuff, and people right now seem to be a little bit outraged because the ones for May are Overcooked, the silly little cooking game that came out like years ago now, and also Edith Finch. Now, both of these are basically just little teeny tiny morsels. They are little experimental projects, but not something I'd hardly even consider a game. They're things that are goofy and interesting, but I just want to consider them giant experiences. Whereas Microsoft is now putting out 4 games every single month. They're doing 2 Xbox One games and 2 basically classic games, which are usually Xbox 360 or original Xbox. And what's funny is these all work on your Xbox console. I mean, even Nintendo is beginning to try and tinker with ideas like this. Now, right now, I actually think that the Nintendo Switch Online service isn't as good as I hoped, but it's decent. And they are trying to do stuff like, obviously right now, they just recently came out with Tetris. And the Tetris thing on here, Tetris 99, is really interesting, and honestly, it's something that you can only get if you have the Nintendo Online service. It's an interesting incentive, along with, of course, the fact that there are some old school Nintendo games. Only with my PlayStation do I feel like things have actually gotten worse as time's gone on. Now let's be very clear about something that I feel like nobody wants to talk about, which is that this fee they charge you is not required. These companies are simply charging you because they know they can get away with it. I mean, let's just say this out loud because I feel like a lot of people don't have the guts to. PlayStation Plus doesn't need to be here. Xbox Live Gold doesn't need to be here. The Nintendo Switch Online service does not need to be here. They do not need your money to keep these servers live. It is simply something that they know that they can charge people, and since it's such a small fee, people will just wave their hands and continue to pay it. It's not a huge cost, so people are very forgiving of it. But still, because we are being forced to pay it, a lot of us expect the service to be very, very solid. You see, I'm somebody who plays a ton of online games. I mean, seriously, a couple hours every single day, I'm usually playing something on the internet with strangers, whether it's Final Fantasy XIV Online or Fortnite, or if I'm just trying to do some random matches of the Call of Duty Remastered. Each of these is something that I need to have the most solid online connection for. It's not just about having good bandwidth, it's about Sony making sure they upkeep their servers and our connection to them. And what's kind of funny is now Sony provides the worst services. They have the most lag, their party system is the most clunky, they're the slowest at rolling out updates. I mean, look, I don't even play that much on my Xbox, but if I'm actually trying to team up with people or just create a group, if I am going to be doing that, it is so much easier on Xbox One. Like, here's a fun fact, and a lot of people don't realize this, Xbox One actually has a looking for group system. This is totally real. If you're about to play something online and you don't want to play it by yourself and you just want to find other cool dudes who have microphones and want to talk, you can actually type into a special box on the Xbox Live dashboard and say, hey, I'm about to get online with this game. Does anybody just want to score some kills or make a squad? And they'll do it. You can. I did this the other day with PUBG. I was able to actually just go on there and say, hey, I'm looking for 3 other additional people to make a squad. Within 2 minutes, I had a full squad of people with microphones who are skilled and knew what they were doing to back me up. We played all night. Nothing like that exists at all with Sony, and what's kind of aggravating is you would assume that they're actually trying to spend all this PlayStation Plus money on further development, right? That's sort of the unspoken promise, is the idea that if you're playing for online, if you're actually spending cash on this, it's going to continually improve. When in actuality, if anything else, it has begun to downgrade. The games are getting worse. And additionally, I can't really look past the fact that they're actually offering less for the same price. So as of last year, you were actually getting 4 games every month from PlayStation Plus, 2 PS4, 1 PlayStation 3, and a PlayStation Vita game, and these are now just chopped off. You are expected to pay the same price for less value. The only part of PlayStation Plus right now that I do actually still love is the fact that they do a bunch of sales. Essentially, the way it works is the PSN does all sorts of giant shop sales all the time, where they're selling hundreds of games at discounted rates. And if you have PlayStation Plus, a lot of them will actually be a couple bucks cheaper. And as somebody who doesn't mind buying some digital games, it's cool when I see like an indie game that was 15 bucks and it's $2 with a PlayStation Plus discount. That, I think, is great. And I do want to say it's cool that they're constantly trying to cut deals with publishers to obviously provide the deepest discounts possible. The real issue arises with the fact that I wish that Sony would address this stuff. The fact that it took them so many years just to actually finalize the PlayStation name change. Yes, I'm happy that's finally there. I'm glad that I can finally be DreamcastGuy on the PlayStation and the Xbox and the Switch, but the fact that this took so freaking long, to me, actually shows the fact that Sony internally is just not in a rush to do anything. I'm not attacking them. I'm not saying they suck. I'm just saying that it is very fundamentally disheartening to me because I have been paying for this service for years and it still feels very much the same. They haven't introduced any giant expansive feature that suddenly makes it seem like, okay, now it's worth it. I am only paying for this online service because I have to, not because I want to. Additionally, though, I will say that when it comes to other stuff like Microsoft and Nintendo, I don't mind paying the fee because I know that it's actually giving me stuff stuff back. Okay, let's just say it. These free games aren't really free. They're doing this to try and get you addicted to the service. You want to keep having access to the library of free games you got? Keep paying that price. I'm not even saying that this is predatory. I actually think that that is a brilliant idea that is very win-win. Players get free games, everybody's getting access to them, and Sony's getting money. But the fact that the library is continually getting worse is only going to hurt them. I'm not asking for crazy AAA exclusives every single month. I'm not asking you to give away Days Gone. I'm not asking you to give away Fallout 4. I'm just saying we want games that actually match caliber, and I want you to improve your services. I'm still upset by the fact that there is such limited crossplay, and I'll be honest, I've actually talked to sources now who have said that there are game companies who are continually pressuring Sony directly to allow crossplay. Small games absolutely need crossplay to have a community that lives longer, and Sony just flat out doesn't want to play. That means that there are people who are paying for a service on their console that is objectively the worst, and to me, that is a disappointment. But what do you think about all this? Are you somebody who just doesn't mind because the fee is so low? Or are you like me and just somebody who wants a little bit more? I'm not asking them to reinvent it. I'm not asking them to suddenly create the biggest and best service for $1 a month. I'm just saying, Sony, we all know you can do better. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. I do really wish they'd bring back some sort of limited free thing. I do wish that you could like play online multiplayer in some regards without charging you, but that's gone forever, and I just gotta accept it. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.